In 4 years, for the first time ever, 2 major championships will be played in back-to-back weeks on the same golf course. Pinehurst No. 2, one of golf's living museum pieces, is being prepared for the task, even as daily play continues, by Ben Crenshaw and his architecture partner, Bill Corr. Maybe people who don't quite understand think that you're walking into an art museum and changing the Mona Lisa. That's not exactly true, is it?
No, not really. I mean, you kind of got to put things in perspective. I mean, Donald Ross lived on the golf course. Notorious, you know, there's always the lore and legend of him coming out of his house and tweaking the golf course throughout the year. So there's really no standard way that No. 2 was. It was always an evolving process, and we're kind of continuing that as we speak. We're actually kind of bringing back those Donald Ross characteristics that we've kind of strayed away from, bringing back a lot more of the strategy of the golf course, on fairway position and entering into the greens by making it firmer and faster. Certainly the strategy will play a large part into what we're trying to achieve with our project right now with Crenshaw and Corr.
Wiregrass is being replanted by hand, and edges between hazards and safety will be less defined. But it's not just the look that will change. Expect a faster, firmer track, which could bring bounce back into play. For example, on the par 4 fifth, you could use the sweep of the right fairway to carom an approach shot toward the hole.
On your second shot, as we got the fairway conditions and the approach is softer, you really couldn't land it short of the green because there is a nice little step up, just like all the other greens here at No. 2, that it wouldn't bounce up and roll up on the green. But if you're going to get it close to a middle or right hole location, you really want to buzz those bunkers on the right-hand side and let it roll up there.
And while fairways may widen in some areas, the analysis doesn't end there.
They're getting wider perception-wise, but as they get firmer and faster, they may not play as wide. Because the idea is to have that shot that may be a little bit of a draw or a little bit of a fade. You need to be concerned with that. If it's firmer and faster, that ball is going to roll into the rough areas, which, when it's soft and lush, that ball hits, and wherever it hits, even with a pretty sharp curve on it, it's going to stay in the fairway. So, yes, the measurements are going to be wider, but it might not necessarily play wider.
Some No. 2 traditionalists are worried about the changes, but Crenshaw, Corr, and others who know the course and what the great architect Donald Ross intended for it are confident that the exhilaration of its challenge is eternal.
The funny thing about it is we'll be sitting on the porch watching players come in, our amateur players, our members and our guests coming in, and at the end of the day, if there's their first time to see it, what'd you think of No. 2? And they'll say, oh, it was okay. And I say, well, what'd you shoot? 90? What's your handicap? 10? And then it kind of dawns on me. It goes, man, look at all the opportunities that I left out there. And that's what No. 2 is about. It's about opportunities. They're there. It's easy to see, but it's tough to take advantage of. And that's what makes it a great golf course.